Welcome back aboard Blurred Force One with your boy Mo. And today I'm reviewing Star Trek Lower Decks Season 4, Episode 10. It's entitled Old Friends, New Planets. And it's coming to you from Paramount Plus. So, what did I think about it, and should you be watching? And before we get into this review, get down there, hit like on this video. Alright, we're at the season finale. We saw Nick Locarno, a legacy character from Star Trek The Next Generation, has basically surfaced as the ringleader behind a plot to steal a bunch of non-Federation ships with the help of the lower decks of each of those ships. And he's also kidnapped Mariner because, he used to know her. He thinks she's a friendly face and that he can use her in his plot to, as we find out, essentially declare an independent fleet called Nova Fleet. Now, they do a flashback in this episode where we see Mariner at the Academy with her idol Cito, and it's basically a different view of the episode from Star Trek: The Next Generation. We even have the voices of the actors who played those characters to return. So it was really cool to see animated versions of them. And it's 13 years in the past. So I'm going to say, what does that make Mariner, 28, 29, 30, something like that? And who knows? Somewhere around there. She's been a perpetual ensign, for a while. But Locarno wants her, when he broadcasts a message throughout the quadrant, declaring Nova Fleet, that she's on his side as a Starfleet member. But because Mariner is who she is, she's just like, this guy sucks, don't listen to him. And she steals his Genesis device, which he was using as kind of his two-part insurance policy to keep the Federation and other people out. One of them was a Trinar shield around this system that he was in, and the other one was a Genesis device. More specifically, a Ferengi Genesis device that will be important later. And so she steals a ship from the fleet and goes flying out into the system to evade the capture, from the other people there. And in the process, tries to reason with some of them. And I would call this part of the episode is very much a Star Trek, '09 Star Wars inspired sort of situation where she's literally a lone pilot flying away. They even go through like asteroids and everything like that. There's a close call with the Trinar shield. It's very much of the whole, like I said, Star Wars, Star Trek '09 vein. I really, really enjoyed it. I think Mariner, as the action hero of the show, really showed, why that is in this one. But also, look, Mariner, she may, as she says, she may, sort of talk shit or criticize the hell out of Starfleet when it's wrong, but she loves Starfleet. And there was no way she was ever going to join Locarno in this foolishness. And she was trying to, encourage other people, the lower deckers across the quadrant. Hey, this dude's a loser and you're going to, just kill yourself trying to follow this guy. And Locarno throughout the episode becomes more and more unhinged. He becomes more unhinged. He starts out very, very confident about his plan. And as Mariner sort of gums up the works, he becomes less and less so. He calls this is a partnership among all the people that are in the fleet. Everyone's equal. And yet he's the big mastermind behind this, and he wants to order people around. And the other, the people following him, they already basically mutinied because they didn't want to follow orders in the first place. So why would they do that now? Again, that comes back later. Meantime, on the Cerritos, Captain Freeman wants to figure out how to save her daughter. And so, Starfleet's just like, we're going to wait and see. We got to study the problem, basically dragging her feet. And she is not content to do that. And so they have to turn to someone else to get the firepower. And that was where Tendi comes in. Tendi helps them, hook up basically with her sister, who of course we know is running their clan back on Orion. And she's like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm not gonna help you guys. I don't. What's in it for me? Whatever. I don't care for it." So Tendi demands, basically combat to determine whether or not they'll help. And she hilariously picks Dr. Miglimo when she finds out who her sister chooses. Who she chooses a very big and formidable looking Orion woman, and who basically we find out is very allergic, and Miglimo can get her allergic reaction. But he still ends up losing because, of course, she falls on him and he loses. And so, Captain Freeman has, she agreed that for the wager was going to be to give up the code for the Cerritos, to give the Cerritos over. But instead, Tendi is just like, okay, forget that. You want something more valuable. You want me to come back and serve, at your side to strengthen the family. So now Tendi's on the hook to go back there. But because they agreed to it, they do get a battleship, which is a piece of crap apparently, because gotta always watch the term of the deal and everything like that. Orion's fast talkers and swindlers, I guess you could say, pirates, if you will. And so they're kind of stuck with a hunk of junk, and they've got to engineer some way to actually make it useful. Which leads to a fun little callback to earlier in the season with the Mark Twain thing, where Ensign Livick and Lieutenant, or our Lieutenant, our good old Rutherford, they kind of don't like each other, but they twain it up and figure out how to best work together, I guess. And this was to Lynn suggest the whole thing, which is hilarious because it's the most ridiculous, illogical thing, and yet it is the most logical because she's literally seen it work. So it all actually does make sense when you think about it from Talin's perspective. And Boimler is just happy that his idea, his and Rutherford's idea works. And I have to say, God dang it, if they don't somehow make this an official part of Star Trek canon, and what I mean is, like it should be part of the handbook or something like that, that this is an official mediation strategy. It better be, damn it. So they engineer a plan, they get ready to go. And what surprises me so much, like, while they're in the system, Locarno is chasing after Mariner and everything, and he sort of takes his eye off the ball, that being who's trying to get into the system to get through the shield. And so at the last minute, he realized, all of them in his allies realized, oh, a big old Orion's, starship or battleship is coming through. And so it commences one of the most fun, Star Trek things I've seen, which is you have, it's a slingshot maneuver basically, but you have Boimler, who wants to be a captain so much, gets to be acting captain of the Cerritos, as they pull off this slingshot maneuver, using the tractor beam to basically, throw this battleship at this shield. And Boimler is so good at it. I mean, I'm just proud as hell of that dude. He is so good at acting captain, even talking to the admiral and everything, who tells him to stand down, and everyone's listening to him. I honestly, truly want to know what the decision making process was to get him to be the command officer, the acting captain, when there was clearly a couple other people on the bridge who had more pips than him. Remember, he's a lieutenant junior grade. I suspect it's probably because as lieutenant junior grade, he has the least to lose out of everyone in the line of command. And so, and also out of all of the lieutenant junior grades, Boimler and Mariner are the command, the executive command officers, whereas Talin and Tendi are science officers, and Rutherford is an engineer. So obviously they are he's the most likely and the best junior grade officer to be in, to get in trouble essentially. Well, it all goes to plan. Boimler looks cool as hell being acting captain, and Ransom, Shax's Ransom, and Shaxx Ransom and Captain Freeman, they get to go inside while the shield's open. And so, finally, Locarno's kind of losing his shit when Mariner goes off into this ion storm. The people don't want to listen to him. He gives them a command too much, and they roll out. So it's just him, and he's just like, well, I just got to do everything myself to get that Genesis device. And he beams aboard, the ship. Which, as an aside, apparently the ship. This is an interesting bit of Star Trek lore. The ship is named after I guess a person that works for the company Eagle Moss, who was, does 3D renders of ships that they eventually turn into actual scale models. I do not remember the name of the ship, but I just did want to note that that's awesome. Like, I love the fact that that happens in Star Trek a lot, just to pay tribute to, notable people, but also people who are important in the fandom. Because this guy started out as a fan. I thought that was really cool. And also, apparently, he worked on, Discovery and Lower Decks also as a modeler. That was pretty cool. But they basically they go and go to rescue her. Locarno beams aboard her ship, and he sort of confronts her. He wants the Genesis device, and before he can shoot her, she gets beamed away. And he had already started the count. She starts the countdown on the bomb so that nobody can have it. And now he's like, I can figure this out, and he does eventually figure it out, but unfortunately, he doesn't have 2 bars of latinum to actually deactivate the bomb, and the bomb goes off. And it creates basically a new M-class planet in the nebula, and that they name after him. So, all's well that ends well. Yes, Boimler does well. Rutherford did his thing, Tendi and Tallinn backing him up. They also had a big part. Everyone really gets to shine in this episode. And more importantly, something that we've been sort of following through this series or this season, Mariner and her, kind of wanting to sabotage her career to stay an ensign. She could have, who knows where she would be by now if she hadn't sabotaged herself, trying to honor her friend Sito. And instead, now she's sort of worked through all of that, and she's better. And she's like, thanks guys, I'm better. And I love Tendi saying, like, apology not accepted, because we're going to be there for you no matter how, what's going on with you. It's so good. Like, I'll not say I teared up, but I got really close. Like, there was some real genuine, emotional work there. I love that these 5, yes, 5 now, they were 4 before, now 5. Tallinn, she slid in there. She's one of those guys. I love, her interactions and the way she is with all of them. I especially love Boimler. He was so, super worried. He's really happy to see Mariner again. Just basically, they have a big old hug. They're so happy to see Mariner back, and she's back 100%, not just back, safely physically. And it all ends with them, going to, have a drink at the bar, and just, they do the Lower Decks chant. Great stuff. Love that. But unfortunately, every season has to end with something for the next season, and Tendi's got to pay the pipe. She got to pay the piper. She's got to go off to rejoin her family on Orion. And I suspect we're going to see, from the face she made, we're going to see a side of Tendi that she doesn't show to everyone. And that is, which is, it's interesting, just because she and Rutherford, they're just besties forever, and just they're so cute, kind of doing, saying their goodbyes and everything. So overall, great. What a great way to end this season. Like, I was wondering about the earlier part of the season. I wasn't super enthused with some of the episodes in the earlier part of the season, but man, what a finale. What a way to go out in a truly Star Trek way. It covers all the bases. It's emotionally resonant. It's action packed. Like, the science is all there. I mean, this just, they even deal with a legacy character in a way that makes sense. And, they sort of broaden an already pretty important and pivotal episode of Star Trek The Next Generation. They really broaden it out and give it a lot more, texture. It gives it a lot more impact within the Star Trek universe itself. And especially for Mariner. So her journey was super important, but also just seeing all of the lower deckers, and as they're junior grade lieutenants, the way they are really growing as officers and as people, as members of Starfleet, as friends. It's really a beautiful thing to see, and I'm so glad to have seen that yes, we are getting a fifth season of Lower Decks. I could watch this for 10 years. If they can keep on with this level of storytelling and engagement, absolutely, I want more of this. This was a really good season of Lower Decks, and I'm sure they've got many more ahead. I'm really excited to see what they do with this show. So anyway, those are all my thoughts on this final episode of season 4. But what did you guys think about it? What did you think about what I had to say? Get down to the comment section, leave your thoughts there. And of course, you can always hit me up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com, or join me on Threads, Super Not Funny Show, there as well. Instagram, TikTok, the same name. You know what to do. Check me out there. And while you're doing that, hit like on this video, subscribe to this channel, hit that notification bell. All that good stuff helps to grow this channel, helps more people to see videos just like this. All right, thanks for joining me. Come back to the channel. Got plenty more reviews and podcasts that you can check out. Do me a favor and hit all of that up. Until then, I've been Mo, your commentator extraordinaire on all things pop culture, and I'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.